Coming up, the newest details on the death of Jeffrey Epstein, plus what happened at a shooting outside a local fast food restaurant last night, and new details on a Nevada man accused of planning a bomb attack, how that plot was thwarted. Madisonville police need your help catching a convenience store robbery suspect who fired his gun today. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Clay Falls. Whitney Miller has the weekend off. The aggravated robbery happened this morning at a store in the 800 block of North May Street. Take a look at these photos to see if you know him. Police tell us this man was caught on camera walking into the store and demanding money. He also fired his gun into the cash register. Fortunately, no one was injured. If you recognize this person, you are asked to call Madisonville police. And we're learning new details on a shooting that happened last night in College Station. Today, College Station police said 18-year-old Isaac Vasquez was the man they arrested for the shooting that happened in a Taco Bell parking lot on Harvey Road. He's facing charges for deadly conduct and evading arrest. Police tell us the two men met in the parking lot and got into an argument over a drug deal. Isaac Vasquez is accused of shooting at the other person's vehicle when that person tried to rob him. No one was hurt. Police say he fled to a nearby apartment early this morning. Police obtained a search warrant to search that unit, and the SWAT team assisted after a person inside refused to come out. Vasquez remains in jail tonight on bonds totaling $79,000. Jeffrey Epstein, the financier arrested on charges that he ran a sex trafficking ring, apparently killed himself in jail today. The FBI, the Department of Justice, and the New York City Medical Examiner's Office are investigating his death. Mola Lange has more.
According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the 66-year-old multimillionaire hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell Saturday morning. He was taken to a Manhattan hospital but was pronounced dead. Epstein's apparent suicide comes one day after thousands of pages of documents in a civil case between Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell were unsealed. In the court documents, Giuffre, an alleged victim of Epstein, accused Maxwell, Epstein's ex-girlfriend, of directing her to have sex with several politically connected and financially powerful men when she was a minor. Giuffre was among the most vocal of Epstein's alleged victims.
You know, before you know it, I'm being lent out to politicians and to academics and to people that royalty.
Epstein was inside the special housing unit, a part of the Metropolitan Correctional Center, where he was held without bail for the last several weeks as he faced federal sex trafficking charges. Just 2 weeks ago, Epstein was found unconscious on the floor of his jail cell. Arrested on July 6th, Epstein pleaded not guilty to charges that he enticed, recruited, and molested dozens of young girls at his homes in New York and Florida. Epstein's federal charges came more than a decade after his legal team struck a secret deal with federal prosecutors in Florida who allowed him to plead guilty to 2 lesser sex charges in state court. He served just 13 months in a county jail and was granted work release. Attorney General William Barr said he is appalled by Epstein's death, saying it raises serious questions and that the Inspector General is opening an investigation into the circumstances of Mr. Epstein's death. A trial date had been set for June of 2020. We last saw Epstein in court on July 31st during a procedural hearing in the Southern District of New York. He appeared tired, deflated, and noticeably thinner. Prosecutors said when the feds busted into Epstein's Manhattan townhouse last month, they found evidence matching descriptions provided by his alleged victims, including a massage table and volumes of lewd photos. Accuser Jennifer Rose said in a statement she is angry at the news. Brad Edwards, an attorney representing Courtney Wild, another alleged victim, also released a statement saying this is unfortunate and predictable. The victims deserve to see Epstein held accountable. Epstein's attorneys had appealed for him to live under 24-hour guard at his townhouse in Manhattan's Upper East Side while he awaited trial, but that appeal was ultimately denied. Mola Lange, CBS News, New York.
And you know, one of the things that I've kind of been saying the past couple of days was just you kind of have to brace for the heat because it is just not going anywhere. It's just going to be stuck here for the next couple of days. And I wish we could say that we have like a change in this pattern, but unfortunately I just don't see one coming anytime soon. Temperatures this afternoon made it into the 100s for a lot of folks. If you didn't make it there, like North Gulch, you had it at 99. You at least felt like it. That was the concession. I mean, we just have a lot of humidity that's making these temperatures feel anywhere from about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what they actually read. And as far as records go, well, we're not setting any just yet, but we have had 5 days so far in 2019. This is our 3rd day in a row that we've seen highs top off into the triple digits here in Bryan and College Station. You notice the heat advisory has been let go for a good chunk of the Brazos Valley, Milam, Robertson, Leon County. You're still in it till tomorrow. Likely we will see the rest of the area put in as we head into tomorrow, but that'll be up to the National Weather Service offices as we continue on into the overnight hours. But we all know it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. Temperatures right now still sitting to the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees. And overnight, I do expect us to dip down into the upper 70s, but by tomorrow, we're once again on track for another triple-digit day. Things are going to be feeling pretty toasty, and they will through a good part of this next week until we can start to work in at least a couple chances for rain. We'll get you more details on that coming up here in a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Erica. FBI agents arrested a Nevada man. He's charged with planning a bomb attack in Las Vegas. 23-year-old Connor Climo stands accused of plotting to firebomb a synagogue or a bar catering to LGBTQ customers. Here's Carter Evans.
I have my Bushmaster AR-15 rifle, my handy-dandy knife.
How many bullets are in here?
30 rounds.
Chilling video from 2016 shows terror suspect Connor Climo patrolling his Las Vegas neighborhood alone, armed to the teeth and on the lookout for trouble.
If there is a possibly very determined enemy, we have at least the means to deal with it.
Climo is now off the streets and in federal custody, charged with possession of illegal firearms and destructive devices. Feds say the 23-year-old had bomb-making materials in his home and was communicating with a white supremacist extremist organization. And in encrypted online conversations, Climo used derogatory racial, anti-Semitic, and homophobic slurs, spoke of attacking a Las Vegas synagogue, making Molotov cocktails, and targeting a bar he believed catered to the LGBTQ community. On the public forum Quora, Climo also embraced white nationalist views. Jolie Brislin is with the Nevada Regional Anti-Defamation League.
There's more murders being committed by white supremacists and extremists than anybody else. And so we need to be educated. We need to make sure that our law enforcement has all the data and the information and the knowledge to be able to combat this type of hate.
Climo was working as a security guard when he was arrested. He's now facing 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He'll be back in court in 2 weeks. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Earlier today in El Paso, the League of United Latin American Citizens led the March for a United America rally, calling on unity and stricter gun control. 2020 presidential candidate and El Paso native Beto O'Rourke participated in the march. Last Sunday, a gunman killed 22 people at an El Paso Walmart. The suspect told police he was targeting Mexicans. And back here in town, services were held today for 11-year-old Carter Nat, whose battle with cancer was an inspiration. Hundreds showed up to the First Baptist Church in Bryan today to celebrate Coulter's life. At 4 years old, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. He passed away July 26th. His battle was documented through a public Facebook page, inspiring tens of thousands. And a local church held their annual clothing giveaway this morning. Tables were piled high with clothes at the Wesley United Methodist Church in Bryan. The free clothing was donated by the community to give to those who need it. The annual clothes drive started 10 years ago with just children's clothes and has grown ever since.
We might not be big enough to make a large impact in some of the situations in the world, but we can make an impact here, and so we do.
The church says they look forward to giving back to the community again this November for their annual chili cook-off. And just a reminder that it's tax-free weekend. The back-to-school sales tax holiday runs through Sunday. Shoppers can save $8 for every $100 spent on items like clothing, shoes, school supplies, and backpacks. Many stores also schedule sales to coincide with the tax-free weekend. For a list of items that do and don't qualify for exemption from taxes this weekend, visit our web channel at KBTX.com. A special program documenting the funeral train procession for President George H.W. Bush airs tomorrow. You'll want to set your DVRs or tune in to watch Discovery Channel. Sunday morning, they will premiere Uniting America, the President's Final Journey. The program will show never-before-seen footage and go behind the scenes with the Union Pacific employees who helped plan the historic funeral train trip from Spring to President Bush's burial at his presidential library here in College Station. The show will first air on Discovery at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Then you'll have other opportunities to see it again on the Science Channel on October 1st at 5 p.m. American Heroes Channel will also feature the program on October 5th at 1 p.m. Well, coming up, local band students battle the heat to raise money. And coming up later in sports, Texas A&M continued fall football camp today. They're gearing up for Fan Appreciation Day tomorrow.
And yes, it is hot, it is humid. We are embracing the heat as all Texans do, but do we have any relief in sight? That is the big question. We'll answer that right after the break.
Closed captioning on News 3 is sponsored by Brenham Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
Shop us 24/7 at BrenhamHasIt.com.
It's all about people. It's all about home. Working together, loving our own. From country roads to our city streets, it's the neighbors we love and the new ones we meet. KBTX, the very best we can give. We're here where you need us, here where you live. See life the way that you choose. Oh, yeah. News 3, this is your news. KBTX, it's the time that we share. It's for you, it's for me. People who care, Brazos Valley, this is for you. News 3, this is your news. Whoa, whoa.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team is sponsored by the Bank and Trust. Local bank, local bankers. And now, local weather.
We'll start you by taking you down to the Atlantic Ocean. Overall, you'd say things are pretty quiet. In fact, yes, they are. We have just a few of these clouds across what we call the ITZ, and if you look just off towards the west, you see that little plume of African dust. That is headed our way, maybe towards the later part of this next week. Otherwise, you look a little bit further off towards the west, things are pretty quiet into the Gulf of Mexico. We've got some clouds out there, sure, generating some of these isolated showers and storms along what we call little tropical waves that are moving in off of Africa. But largely, because we've got high pressure in place, and because we've got a little bit of that dust, the upper levels of the atmosphere just a little bit too warm to support any of these showers and storms trying to make it our direction. So we'll watch as this dust plume tries to make it a little bit closer to the United States. It may cause some milky skies for us later on next week, but overall, things are pretty quiet here. We actually have a pretty nice area of high pressure sitting in, and you can see that clockwise spin in the atmosphere as all of this rain, the cloud cover kind of circulates around it and keeps things for us very quiet. We'll run you through a pinpoint forecast. Watch what happens to this area of high pressure. It just kind of starts to meander off towards the east, bringing in a few clouds here and there to start off your day, but largely all of the rain chances staying well to our north. But watch what happens. This slowly starts to inch just a little bit closer to the Brazos Valley, and by Tuesday afternoon and even into the evening, we may be talking about a little bit of a weakness trying to slide in. I still think your better chances for rain will hold off until Wednesday and into your Thursday. Still not great. It's about the best we can do with this pattern, about a 20% in coverage, but you'll notice we'll at least have a couple of days there towards the middle to later part of this week where we may be able to pick up on some rain. So overall, the story is over the next several days, rain chances will be low, but I do think at least some of us have the potential to pick up on a couple tenths of an inch of rain, couple hundredths of an inch of rain. Depends on how much rain you are able to pick up over the next couple of days, and unfortunately, I do think some will stay on the dry side. That is what we will be monitoring. For now, though, it is just the heat, it is the humidity, it has settled itself in. You can see heat advisories in place for a good portion of the south, and we even have some of these excessive heat watches in place as well, where heat index values are expected to top 114 for some folks. For the Brazos Valley, you'll notice just Milam, Robertson, Leon counties at this time under that heat advisory for tomorrow. We may see more counties added in as we get into the later part of tonight and even into early tomorrow morning. Regardless, the messaging stays the same. Temperatures are heating back up into the 100-degree range, close to 105 as we head towards the middle part of this week, and your heat index values going to be topping 110. Once we get that area of rain to try and slip on through, it may bring us at least a little bit of relief as we head into the second part of this week. Not much. We're talking upper 90s, close to 100 degrees still. It's a little bit above average, but I do think it brings us a little bit more cloud cover. And again, that chance for rain may cool things off at least briefly for your afternoon. Otherwise, as we look to your 8 to 14 day forecast outlook, It's still hot, but we may start to see that dome of heat try and work a little bit further off towards the west, but we are feeling it now. Temperature-wise, we're still sitting into the 90s both in Bryan as well as College Station. Good news is we at least have a little bit of a breeze out there, but it is still warm, it is still muggy, upper 80s, close to 90. Feels like temperatures still hovering just around the mid and upper 90s. Getting still feels like 102 at this 10 o'clock hour. I do think by tomorrow morning we will drop down into the upper 70s. Then once the sun comes back out, once we lose a little bit of that cloud cover in the morning, those temperatures are headed back up towards the triple digits. Again, keep in mind, those feels like temperatures, that's what you're preparing for. Anywhere from about 105 to 110, that is in the shade. You step outside into the pavement, out in the sunlight, you can add a couple of degrees onto that. And that's really going to be the story as we kind of head into the rest of this week. Fingers crossed, we can actually get a couple of raindrops to fall here as we head into the second half of the upcoming week. But again, it's hope, but it is not a guarantee for a lot of folks to pick up on the rain.
It seems like this time of year it's going to be hot in Texas, and the sun's 93 million miles away, but it feels a lot closer this week.
It does, and I think it will for the next couple of days.
All right, we'll hope for cooler weather soon. Thank you very much, Erica. Well, coming up, local band students battle the Texas heat to raise money. With today's heat index hitting 106 degrees, beating the heat was hard to do, but two local high school bands found a way. News 3's Kendall Hogan explains.
The College Station High School band performed their fundraising concert Saturday.
And it's just going to be a great way to help support our boosters, which they always help support us as a band program all throughout the year.
But it wasn't just drums they were beating. They also beat the heat.
When we saw the weather actually on KBTX, we knew that it could be 102 later on today. So we have a water station kind of here in the back with 4 jugs of ice water.
Just because of the one cloud shades you doesn't mean it's time to stop drinking water.
Just a few miles away, A&M Consolidated High School held their march-a-thon.
Here at 8 o'clock this morning, met and we've been marching through the neighborhood. Lots of little short concerts, lots of donations.
I was a little worried because it feels like it's like 110, so I was a little worried, but the parents are doing an excellent job of keeping us healthy.
Because the show must go on. In College Station, Kendall Hogan, News 3.
Both school bands say they are looking forward to the UIL state competition this November.
Coming up next in sports, Texas A&M volleyball is officially underway. The Aggies started preseason practices today, and plenty of Aggie athletes representing at the Pan American Games. Highlights and more after the break.
Sports is sponsored by Allen Honda, corner of Southwest Parkway and Highway 6. Allen's got your Honda. From the KBTX Sports Center, News 3 Sports starts now.
The Texas A&M football season kicks off in just 19 days. After a full week of practice, 8 straight days, the Aggies had their first off day yesterday. They were back on the field today in a closed practice, but head coach Jimbo Fisher has been pleased with how fall camp has gone so far. The Aggies now have a chance to show off their progress to the public. Tomorrow is A&M's annual Fan Appreciation Day. Fans will have a chance to meet the Aggies and sign autographs tomorrow afternoon from 12 to 2 inside the indoor track complex. Then at 4:30, the Aggies will hold an open practice at Kyle Field. Fisher says he's excited for this opportunity.
Oh, I think it's great, and I hope they all come out. I hope to see the players, let the players not only appreciate the players, but the players to appreciate them and the great fan support we have here. And I think it's a great time. I mean, it's great to come to a game, but if you really want to see something, come to a practice. That's where the fun is. I mean, when you get to see the guys, and I think you really appreciate that these kids, they're not just, a gifted group of guys that go out there and take it for granted. They're putting in a lot of hard work to play and how we practice.
Texas A&M asks fans to enter Kyle Field through the Hall of Champions tomorrow beginning at 2 p.m. Doors to the stands open at 3:30. The Texas A&M volleyball team hit the court today for their first official preseason practice. It's year 2 under head coach Bert Kuhn. Last year, the Aggies finished with a 17-13 record. They return 11 letter winners from last year's squad and add 6 new freshmen, which are part of a top 30 recruiting class. This year's schedule could be a tough one. It includes 12 matches against opponents that made the 2018 NCAA tournament. A&M, though, has missed the tournament for the last 2 seasons. With the younger team, Coach Bird says anyone can step up and be a leader this season.
We worked with them in the spring and just they're getting to know us, but that leadership is evident in just the culture and them being able to handle things, and the freshmen know most of the drills, they know our expectations, they know what we want. You know, our expectation, our standard as a program, it's not just the coaches, it's the team is running that now. And it'll continue to build, but I know that comes from the core, and it doesn't have to be a senior. It could be Camille. You know, she really turned into one of our vocal leaders in the spring, and that's huge.
The Aggies host Baylor in an exhibition match on August 24th at Reed Arena. They officially kick off the season of the two-day tournament in Louisville on August 31st. Now, Aggies at the Pan American Games today in Lima, Peru. In track and field, Dion Lendor represented Trinidad and Tobago in the 4x400 relay. Lendor ran the third leg as Trinidad and Tobago claimed the bronze medal behind Colombia and the United States. And in swimming, a couple of Aggies competed in the 200 individual medley. Monica Gonzalez for Mexico finished fourth, and right behind her for Peru, McKenna DeBever came in fifth place.
Clap your hands, everybody! Everybody, clap your hands! We're BCS going all the way!
Our hometown heroes stop tonight is at Brazos Christian. The Eagles made the TAPS playoffs for the 10th year in a row, but last season they finished with just a 3-6 record under first-year head coach Ben Hoffmeyer. Hoffmeyer says they have more of an identity this year. Their offense will lean primarily on senior quarterback Bryce Steele. The Eagles believe their growing pains from last season are over. They're confident heading into year 2 under Hoffmeyer.
The kids understand what we want better, and I understand our athletes better, and so we've adapted and adjusted both our offense and our defense to really fit the skill set of guys we have. You know, last year we were kind of a combination of pro and spread. This year we're all in on the air raid. Our quarterback Bryce Steele has really taken to it, and he's running with it.
It's going to be a lot of fun for us this year. We've changed mostly just to aired out offense here. We are much more prepared this year. Coach Hoff has really taken control this year on both offense and defensive side.
I really think this year is going to be a step up from last year with Coach Hoff. This is his second year. I really think we're getting our offense going this year. We really didn't excel as much as we should have last year, but I think this year is going to be a good year for our offense and our defense, and we're going to really step it up.
The Brazos Christian Eagles kick off their 2019 campaign August 30th at Brentwood Christian. And tonight, the Brazos Valley Bombers open up their postseason, taking on Acadiana. Bombers won on the road 2-0. They'll be back at home tomorrow evening for Game 2 of this best-of-3 series with the Cane Cutters. Now, we had some Aggies in the Pan Am games, so we also had Aggies in the NFL tonight. Running back Travion Williams had his first NFL touchdown for the Bengals in their preseason game.
It's hard to believe it's time for NFL and college football and high school football.
It's here. It's all here. I know. Summer's gone already.
Thanks very much, Tyler. We'll have a quick look outside from our Live Eye Network. Here's the Clayton Williams Alumni Center at Texas A&M.
Josh Ninke, weekday mornings on BBTM.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers, sponsored by Star Furniture and Mattresses. With over 250 sofas in stock, Star has it.
John Wilson, News 3 Sports.
A heat advisory is in place for Milam, Robertson, Leon counties tomorrow until 7 o'clock. The rest of the Brazos Valley not officially under one. We may see one issued over in the coming hours for tomorrow, but regardless, we all know the heat, the humidity is going to make things feel pretty oppressive out there as we get into the afternoon. Temperature-wise right now, upper 80s, close to 90 degrees in just a couple of locations. We are starting to finally cool down. I do think we will make it into the upper 70s overnight tonight. Should stay clear of any record high minimum temperatures, but as we head into tomorrow, I do think there will be at least a few more of us that try and make it back up into the triple digits, with at least a few of us still into the upper 90s. We may be looking forward to some upper 90 degree temperatures as we head into Thursday. That will come in the form of some rain chances as well as a few more clouds trying to work back into the area, but that's about the best relief we can get.
The heat streak continues for now. Thanks, Erica. That's all our time tonight. Join us tomorrow night for News 3 at 10.